Well, hello. And if I saw you earlier today, hello again. Which is kind of the topic of tonight's little discussion. Um, I'm hoping that a lot of resellers come on, as well as people thinking about reselling, because we're going to get into some of the reality of what it is like to do this business, some of the downfalls, and what to do when things go horribly, horribly wrong. Let's talk about it today. So this is kind of an unplanned live, and the reason I'm doing this is because of somewhat of a disaster that happened earlier today. So for those who may not understand how my business model works, hello. It's late there in the UK. Thank you for joining. See, the way my business model works is I have been a reseller, I like to say my whole life, pretty much, but that's not true. Since I was a teenager, I have been reselling, and I did that long before the internet was a thing. And then when eBay came along, it just made it so much simpler to be a reseller. And it's funny because if we look at now, excuse me. Wow, where did that come from? If we look at now compared to what it was, 25 years ago, you would never think it was easy. It was ridiculous. We didn't have these to take our pictures with, or to look anything up, or to even list things on the go. You literally had to have a computer, and you had to have a camera if you wanted pictures, like a film camera. There was no digital cameras, and you took your pictures on I had a 35 millimeter, and then you had to get them. What's even the word? I can't even. Developed. See, it's so long ago, I can't even think of the words. So you had to get that film developed. Now, there was some 1 hour places you could go, like that was a thing. They were very expensive though, so most people didn't. Most people did like the 3-day route for getting your pictures back, and then you had to hope that you had, pictures that weren't blurry, that were worth putting with your listing, and then you had to scan them into your computer to get to a listing. Now, back then, you could also list things with no pictures. So you could sell things without taking pictures. That was kind of a beautiful thing about eBay as well. So having the pictures kind of set you above everything. So that's where this all started. There was no payment, there was no instant pay. You sold something, you had to wait for a check to come in the mail. Somebody had to mail you a physical paper check to pay for those items. So we've come a long, long way, So when things don't go well, it's all in perspective. Like if you can think about how hard it used to be as to all of the stuff that we have at our fingertips now in order to be a reseller, it's pretty amazing. I mean, 25 years is not that long of a time for how much has changed. Welcome in, everyone. I see so many familiar names. Love, love, love to have you all here. And I love that you all say hi to each other. I love that too. So let's just, I can't run a poll. I wanted to run a poll. Is there a way to run a poll? Is there a way to run a poll in my chat? Is there a way to do it? Let's see. New layout? No. I'm looking at all the little bells and whistles that I have here behind the scenes. I was just going to try to do a little thing. Anyway, I can't because technology. Which is where I'm coming to. So I was doing a whatnot sale today, and it was, let me back up 2 steps. So my business, as I am a reseller, first and foremost, it is what I have done for decades. It is what made the YouTube channel come about. When I first started the YouTube channel, it was really just teaching stuff. It was reseller education type stuff. And then that evolved into the thrifting, which is more of an entertainment piece of all of it, because I will tell you, I know that most of the people who watch my videos are not resellers. So I have to weave together the entertainment watching factor with the reseller education. I try to like mix it in. And so YouTube became a very, very big piece of my overall business model. And then what happened was people started wanting to buy the things that they saw me pick up in the videos. So I'm like, oh, then I started, live selling that stuff. And that moved into me opening my own Shopify shop, because why pay eBay what's going up to like a 15 to 20% fee ratio when I can just have my own space? If people are coming to my stuff because they see me buy it, that's me doing the marketing piece that drives people to wherever those things are listed. So that's how the Shopify came about and why I have the Niche Lady shop. Now, do I still list on eBay? Yes, I have just gone back to now things that don't sell in the shop in a certain amount of time, then I need a bigger, like a worldwide audience. It's not necessarily, people watching my videos. They are just coming to look for something. So now I have reincorporated eBay, and I'm trying to get Etsy back up and running. Etsy, I'm having a little back end problem with Etsy as well. And Poshmark and Shop and Cherish, cherish.com. So that's, I'm multi-listing things and doing I've got all these like little, streams of income is what they call it. Because you never want to put all your eggs in one basket. So that being said, I'm also selling on Whatnot again. I did a lot of Whatnot. Has it been 2 years? Yeah, about 2 years. About 2 years on Whatnot. Maybe not quite 2 years, because they had just introduced the estate sale categories, and they brought me in as an influencer. They made it worth my while to sell on Whatnot and do X amount of shows and X amount of little ads in my videos. So when that contract time period ended, I was kind of taking a hard look at my life, and I needed to like take some plates away, and Whatnot was a plate that I put off to the side for several reasons. And now I'm relooking at everything, and it's back time to where I need a place to do one of two things: live thrift with the ability for people to easily purchase things that they want from me, and create a video. That was supposed to be today's video content, was a live thrifting event. So I thought all was going well. I literally bought an iPad to do the Whatnot multicasting from, because you have to do it from an Apple product, and all my phones are Droids. So I'm like, I'll get an iPad, because then we can travel with it and blah, blah, blah. Well, everything said that it was connected correctly. Everything said it was supposed to be working, but somehow the stream never went live on YouTube. So and that's where the live thrifting format comes in, because otherwise people just get bored on Whatnot. Like if you're not running things, it's not like, that's why people are on Whatnot. They're there to bid and buy things. And I didn't have anything preloaded. And it was a disaster. It was a disaster. I sold 2 things. And that's where I decided to, all right, let's cut this off and let's go talk about it. Let's go talk about it. Let me catch up on this chat over here. That is also the beauty of going live, is we get to talk in real time. Victoria says, I used to do local antique fairs in village halls, collectible and bargains I picked up looking up in books, etc. 25 years ago. Yeah. I used to do the setup on the lawns. We had antique fairs and flea markets and things. Yes. I love that, but it's a lot of work. A lot of work. Some of you missed that I was doing a Whatnot sale today. It was a little bit of a last minute decision. It wasn't well thought out. It was I did not get my video edited to go out today. So, because you have to feed the YouTube algorithm. And I will get back to that too, because a lot of people asked me why I wasn't taking like the week off. And I will explain that momentarily. You never lose the pull to a bargain or looking. That is true. That is true. Thank you. Thank you everyone for all the really amazing, heartfelt comments and messages about Peanut. It's been a rough week around here. I'm not gonna lie. It's been quiet and like eerily quiet. She was my barker, and usually I look over to my right and she's sleeping right there, and she's not there, and it's been a tough week. It's been a very tough week. So thank you, because so many amazing comments. And I want to just say a collective, I am so sorry for everyone who has gone through this. It's the amount of messages and comments related to losing one of our fur babies or feather babies or shell babies. It leaves a hole. It leaves a hole in your heart. It truly leaves a hole in your heart. So just want to thank you again. Thank you. Milky Way Jules, I see your question. I will answer that momentarily. Let me keep it right there. Okay, so the Whatnot was just a disaster today with the technology not working. And the whole reason I didn't do a lot of advertising of the Whatnot sale was I thought I was going to multicast, and then YouTube would have showed everybody, hey, she's live right now. Oh, look, she's on Whatnot. Oh, we can come over to Whatnot. It didn't work. It didn't work. And that's the point, is sometimes things just don't work in this business. Sometimes, and any business, anything you do, nothing ever goes according to plan 100% of the time. And I think I have been really good in my life of being able to just plan B it, pivot, quick, okay, this wasn't planned out, but we're doing this instead, kind of a thing. And I get very frustrated with myself when I haven't done that plan B. Like today, I thought I had it all together. I thought I've got the iPad. This is all going to work. I was just going to multicast. And that didn't happen. And I did not have a plan B. Plan B could have been to really quickly get this onto StreamYard and just pull up, and I could have continued the Whatnot, but had another video feed like we did before, where I just had, a camera person doing the shopping part. So always have that plan B. You're going to go through times where you're just not going to get sales. There's just, we go through ups and downs, and depending on the news cycle and what's happening in the world and what people are feeling in their stock market accounts, or your grocery store bills or whatever that is, the impulse items and the things that we buy for ourselves and the things that we buy to make us feel good, those tend to get put to the wayside. I'm even being like super, super frugal this month. And, would I love to go out and buy myself a new fish? Yes. But am I going to? No, because that's not in the budget. Whereas, a couple months ago, yeah, I could totally just go do that. And so as resellers, we go through these cycles with people in kind of seeing what is selling, what is not. And I just want to put it out there though, in doing this for 25 years, I've been through a lot of things, with what's going on financially, there's been some pretty tough times over the last 25 years where people have been really scared about money, and resellers always come through. Resellers always tend to do well in these times because people do turn to the secondhand market versus the retail store. So take heart in that. If you're a reseller, it doesn't mean that your business is doomed. It just means you may have to adjust the types of things and the price points of things that you're selling things at, and find your ideal niche, if you will, of clientele. Milky Way Jules asked, what do you think of Etsy versus Ruby Lane? And that is an interesting question. So those are two very, very different marketplaces. A lot of people don't even know Ruby Lane exists. I'll tell you what Ruby Lane does pretty well is that when you're looking for a particular item, that item does tend to come up in Google image searches. So that's pretty much how I know Ruby Lane still exists, because I find those listings when I'm researching products. Whereas Etsy, you have a hardcore customer base on Etsy that goes to Etsy and browses, and Etsy has a different way of presenting product. Like, you can find something in a Google image search that was listed on Etsy and go over and it's no longer there, and Etsy's going to show you, how about all these? And I know Ruby Lane does that to a degree too, but Ruby Lane, I think, has seen its heyday. That being said, and I don't know what is the fee, the commission on Ruby Lane these days, because they have another direction to take that. But I don't know. I haven't looked into Ruby Lane for a while, but I would like to know what they are charging sellers to sell there. Because as I remember, because I was on Ruby Lane once upon a time, it was expensive back then. So I don't know if it is still one of those really expensive places to sell. So answer that as I look through here and see what else I have missed. I don't want to miss questions. Questions are good in all caps. If you want to put your question in all caps, it's easier for me to see it. Ava, that's so true, that turtles do outlive us. Yes. I do tend to get the sick and needy ones that need rehabilitation, which makes it a little bit more stressful. I still have one. I have one we call it the bird room. It's not a bedroom. It is the bird room. And he has free roam of the room, although he likes to spend most of his time in a cardboard box on its side. That is his place of choice. But he wants to go to sleep in the worst way, because that's what his body's telling him is natural for this time of year. And we have to keep him awake. So we have to pull him out of there, and we have to stick him under his heat lamp, and we give him warm soaks, and we're making sure he's eating enough to sustain until we can get him back to where his body's awake and he wants to eat voraciously like he used to. He was just too skinny. He was too skinny to go through winter, because they use their fat reserves to get through, and he didn't have any. So, but yeah, I hear you. Yeah, some of you have never heard of Ruby Lane. Okay, $45 a month plus 9%. Okay, Thought so. That's a little bit of expensive for the traffic they bring you. That is the problem with Ruby Lane, is they are no longer a super relevant website. So it's kind of like having space in an antique mall where you have to decide, is the traffic of the mall bringing you enough sales to justify the rent? Because it's like an antique mall. They charge X amount per square foot for your space, which usually equals to hundreds. And then they take an additional 10 to 15% on top of that as well, which is fine if the sales reflect the cost. And that's with anything and anywhere that you are selling. You have to look and say, okay, are they bringing me enough value for that money? So with an eBay store, we know eBay drives a lot of traffic. Even though it's slowed down over the last decade, it's still one of the number one marketplaces. When people go to look for something, they still go to eBay. Same with Etsy. Etsy's still a very, very relevant marketplace for especially homemade crafted items and vintage. Like when they expanded to the vintage, they're still kind of going through some growing pains with that and what they're allowing people to put there. But that is still, a place that people go to find that. Cherish.com is my place of choice for putting those higher end, either home decor type items, the antiques, which people use for home decor. You can put high-end jewelry there. There's lots of things that you can put on Cherish. And the clientele for Cherish is such that those things do find their market. And because the site overall is a higher end site, it attracts a different customer. And they are also really, really good at their marketing. Like I get a Cherish email at least every day, but it's not spammy. It makes me go, oh, because they send it based on what region you live in. So they show you things that like are locally listed, things that you could go pick up in person. But it really it kind of stimulates your brain of all these really nice looking things. They also take care of making the very first image very uniform with the site. And so I'm a big fan of Cherish. Now they do charge, they just changed their fees. If you have at least 10 items listed, it's 30% commission. If you have less than 10 items listed, then you pay 40% commission. And then there are ways to reduce that amount, but you pay a monthly fee. So it's one of those things where you have to decide, am I listing and selling enough to just pay that flat fee and a smaller commission versus just paying the higher. I right now just pay the higher. I haven't given it my all yet. I still keep waiting for List Perfectly to add Cherish into the mix. I'm really hoping that day will come. Crossing fingers. I would love that, so that I didn't have to manually list everything. That's my issue right now, is I have to manually list. And I have a process to where I list everything in my Shopify shop. I import that over into List Perfectly. And then from List Perfectly, I can send it to eBay, Etsy, Poshmark, Mercari, and all the plethora of other places that you can send it to. So you do the work once, and then you just cross post it to the other sites. But they don't do Cherish yet. So I'm kind of holding out hope for that. You can add, if you put something on Cherish, you can put the item ID into List Perfectly to manage it. But it's manual. It's still manual right now, but it's still good. What are my thoughts on Mercari? So I did Mercari. Don't know how many years it's been. I lose track of time. I got burned really bad on Mercari because they have some automations in there that if you're not careful, they're going to add free shipping to things without you realizing it. They also have like a price reduction automation that can really, really get you. I am not, what's the word? I don't want to degrade myself here, but I'm not on top of the management of the multi-channels that I'm working enough to manage a site like that. So I don't do Mercari. But if you can manage it, and you know, I know a lot of people that sell on Mercari. Indeed. I hate learning how to ship with each new platform too. I like all the platforms that tie into Pirate Ship, because that I pull up one list of things that have to be shipped for that day, and there you go. Yes. A different type of buyer in the 90s when eBay started. Now it's definitely a different type of buyer. And there is good and bad in that, Gabriella. So in those days, you really had to train people of like what this new eBay thing was, that they could even like buy things. So there was less sellers, which meant you had a better chance of selling your items. So what has happened over the course of 25 years is you have so many more sellers, which means so much more products, so much more competition. The customers are still there. It's just diluted as to them finding your listings. And that is absolutely why I say you've got to really develop your niche. Like that is why I'm, niche. We always have this debate. Is it niche or is it niche? I tend to say niche for most of the times, but every now and then I'll throw in niche just so you know what I'm talking about. But I really do believe you need to develop your niche. You need to be true to what it is that you sell so that you can effectively get customers to the point of where you sell things. And maybe they don't buy that item that originally brought them in, but they're curious about what else you have listed, and they will shop and browse and look through all of your other listings. eBay's also made that harder over the years as well. But that's one of the keys to thing is to first you get people there, and then you get them to look at what else that you have. And I can assure you that if I listed, say, a car part, and it was a really good saleable car part, and I knew I could find a buyer for it and I'd make lots of money on it, I could bring that car part buyer in, but they'd get into they'd buy that one thing and they would never shop from me again. And I love the returning customer. I love building a relationship with customers that now we're on the same wavelength. They trust the things they're buying from me. They know that it's going to arrive safely, and they shop and they come back and they see, okay, what else does she have? That kind of thing. Whereas the one-offs, you have to keep finding those one-offs. You have to keep finding those things that will sell, but you're going to have a harder time marketing and getting the people to those items. Oh, yeah. I absolutely 100% love and use List Perfectly. I have almost since the get-go. And I will tell you, I went through a period of time where there was another platform that was offering a better price. And I used that for a while and realized, no. I want to go back to the people who understand resellers. So that is the thing about List Perfectly is Amanda and Clara, who are the founders and owners of List Perfectly, were resellers themselves. And they built this tool to make their own reselling life easier. And in doing that, they discovered the need for this with their friends. And it's like the rest is kind of history. They have never spent a dime on advertising. It has always been word of mouth. And they are a company of integrity, and they truly care about their clientele and their customers. Like I know them both. I'm closer to Clara, and she's just an amazing woman. Like she cares so deeply about everybody. And that comes through in the amount of time and effort that they put into their product. And so that is why I'm like such a huge List Perfectly fan. I will never use anything else. And if anybody wants to try it, I do have a code that gets you 30% off your first month. So sometimes a lot of people will use that and try the top level at 30% off, bring all your stuff over, because that level is the most inclusive of bringing things over. So you can use that level, bring everything over. And if you find that that level's not like, for you going forward, then you can like reduce down to a lower level. It just brings in less things. And I think the auto delist only works on the pro level. But I can tell you it has been completely worth doing the multi listing. I mean, like I said, I took a break pretty much all last year and only concentrated on my Shopify. And that did well. But then I was like, okay, I have all this stuff that didn't sell on Shopify that I really want to list otherwise. I can tell you in just the first month of cross-posting over to eBay, I sold $1,400 worth of products in just the first month of getting back started. And if you look at my eBay store, Utterly Good Stuff, I have like 200 things listed. I don't have thousands of listings. So truly, List Perfectly pays for itself if you work it. That's the thing about business. You have to work it. You have to work it. What are my thoughts on the district? So when the district came about, I was at that period where I was winding down from Whatnot. And I had already started exploring other ways to sell. And the district was reaching out to me, much like Whatnot had done in the beginning. So the district was pursuing me and they wanted me to set up there. And I knew Misty, Thrifter Junker Vintage Hunter, has her shop on the district called Vamp, Virtual Antique Marketplace. And I didn't want to step on her toes. I didn't want to go over there because, again, the district is very much a competitive place. It's, everybody is vying for the time and the space and and it was just, I asked the district some questions. And the one I asked is, okay, if I were to do this, is it my own marketplace to run? Will you be sending out, emails that send people to other people and all that? And they actually lied to me. And they told me, oh, yeah, no, it's totally yours and blah, 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 blah. And I was thinking about it. But then that is when I brainstormed with some other really, really smart people and came up with the Niche Shopping Network. So that is why the Niche Shopping Network was born, because we wanted a place where all of the hosts on the Niche Shopping Network are not in competition with each other. There is only going to be one host running at a time at any given time. And we also try not to saturate a certain genre of things as well. So we won't have, 50 jewelry sellers and we won't have 50 glass sellers. Like it's going to be so that everybody can enjoy success there. And it's ours to run. We don't charge commission on the products sold. So I don't knock anybody else's business model. Everybody has to choose what is best for them. And I just keep trying to innovate and come up with, okay, this is good because of this, but it's bad because of this. And this is good because of this and bad. And how do we take the best of all worlds and try to make something that brings in all the good stuff and tries to mitigate some of that bad stuff? So I hope that answered the question. Let's see. Thank you, Susan. I appreciate that. Oh, and thank you. Thank you for putting the link. Yeah, it's literally like it's you just go to listperfectly.com, and if you want to sign up, just put in the code the niche lady. That is your code for the 30% off. And if there's any issues with that, just let me know. You found something on Ruby Lane that you couldn't find anywhere else. That's awesome. Yeah, they're very specific. Yes. I am not selling anything tonight, Equalizer. I will share. I am going to share some things because I am still going through this ridiculously amazing jewelry. And I got some things here that are stumpers. So maybe some of you can help me with some things. How do you offset the high shipping fees? So your customers should be paying the shipping. You shouldn't be paying the shipping. Like, okay, even if you're offering free shipping, it's not free shipping. It's just built into the price of the item. So just make sure that if you are doing free shipping, you're building it into the price of the item, or you are accurately putting your items in with what it should cost to ship them. And that's how you offset that. Oh, thank you, Wolfman's Goodies. I appreciate that so much. Yeah, we're just kind of, this is a wing it. This is a plan B. This is a plan B night. You've been doing resale for about a year, have been trying to sell anything, and have been thinking about specializing in maybe 5 to 10 high sell-through rates. Yeah, Ronald, very good strategy. Any hints on where to start? So I will tell you, having done this as many years as I have done it, if you don't find something that brings you some kind of, we'll call it motivation, joy, something that makes you want to get up and go to work in the morning kind of thing, you will burn out. You will burn out because reselling is a lot of hard work. It is a lot of hustle. It is a lot of pieces of it that are not enjoyable. A lot of people hate shipping. This is my strategy. I find things that bring me joy. Like that became our tagline on NSN was, go find your joy. And it's truly like, it's such a simple statement, but think about it. Think about what drives you, things you enjoy, no matter what that is. So what is it you really love finding? What is it? I mean, and I know you have to find something that actually sells too. That's the other like little piece of the puzzle. If Beanie Babies are your thing, I'm not sure I advise you to go that direction. But you can find something that truly sparks excitement in your day and in your work life. And that comes through in your listings. It really, really does. So that would be my advice of where to start. Find that thing. Because if it brings you joy, it probably brings somebody else joy. And then that ends up being like your ideal customer. Okay, I think I'm really behind in this chat too. So let me skim, let me go, let me find. Welcome in, everybody. So good to have you all here. Okay, we have Alaskans here. Is it light or dark in Alaska right now? When does it get light? When does it get dark? That's always like, I've always been so intrigued by that. Because, okay, color me crazy, but I'm like, when it gets dark, I start getting sleepy and I want to keep working. And I feel like if I lived someplace where it was light for 18 hours, 20 hours a day, could I get a lot done? Woo! I know you still have to get sleep, but it is a thought. When you have return customers, you can also shop knowing what they like. Yes. That is it. I mean, I get criticized for some of the things I pick up. while I'm shopping. And those are usually the first things that sell because I do know my customers. I know that stuff that sparks joy for somebody else. I know it. Wow, watching from Poland. Yay. You know, I am half Polish. Look at this nose. My dad was Polish. Let's see. What else? I'm looking for the questions. Our NSN community is the best. Yeah, One Way Vintage, who's in the chat, is one of our hosts over on NSN. And we're actually looking to add more hosts. So I'm just saying, if you're not afraid to get in front of the camera, the other thing that we provide to do the really professional looking video that we do is we provide a producer. Like all you have to do is, obviously you have to have the stuff for sale, and then you have to be able to talk about it. A producer handles all of the back end, putting the things up on the screen. We make the QR codes for everything. Like we handle the tech. That was like one of the things a lot of people like are frustrated with live selling because there's so much technical stuff. Well, we do that all for you. That's one of the things with NSN. Jewelry is your favorite. A lot of people like jewelry. I've really been getting into jewelry. I'm really excited about some of this jewelry. I got to tell you. So look here, for instance, look at this little nondescript little box, right? I'm like, what? And I open it up, and inside there are 3, I am pretty sure, oops, where's my camera? Little Victorian pieces of jewelry in here. If we could focus. This is my thing with my camera. I don't have good lighting in here tonight. There we go. Look at these pieces. I haven't tested for gold or silver or anything yet, but, and then these earrings, look at these. Have you ever, look at these earrings. Like they've got this space. So like one piece goes behind the earlobe, the other goes in front. Like never seen anything like them. Never seen anything like them. You have a half dozen beautiful Russian pins that you bought in the mid-90s in Moscow. Oh, wow, you'd love to ship them to me. Oh, Maggie, I would love that. And I would love to email me because I don't want you to do it for free. That sounds like fascinating jewelry. Anybody who emails me, there's an autoresponder. Like if you need the address to send things to, or you like some basic questions, links, like if you forgot what the link was for List Perfectly or something, I have that all in an autoresponder. That doesn't mean I don't see your email. That's just the quick answer to a lot of questions. I do read every email still. It's one of the things I get told I have to stop reading every single email, but I can't help it. I know where my successes come from on YouTube, and I don't take that lightly. And I know it's every one of you who watches and engages. So like that, I don't want to miss a chat comment. I don't want to miss an email. I don't want to miss a message. I spend a lot of time keeping up on what's going on with all of you guys. But thank you, Maggie. I would love that. Thank you, Tracy. Trace, because it says parentheses, Trace. Thank you so much for the super sticker. I have buckets, a garage full of Beanie Babies. I know, we all did. We all did. Yes, there's Chelsea. Treasures by Gem is her shop, and she is also a host on NSN, and she also does a lot of our behind the scenes. I'm waiting. I haven't seen my Alaska answer yet. Let's see. Oh, you're talking about the box. So I'm not that far behind now. Oh, I think I'm caught up. Oh, no, so it's funny, Melissa, that you put that. Wait a minute. You're putting all kinds of stuff in there. I'm not the lich lady. I actually do have a website, thenichelady.com. You know, that's funny. It's actually being worked on as we speak. I wonder if anything's been updated on it. No, not yet. Okay. It's on a list of things to do. That website's really outdated. Don't go there. Don't go to that website. My shop is nicheladyshop.com. That's where I list all my things. But my email is thenichelady@gmail.com. Thenichelady@gmail.com. Typing too fast. Okay, it's still mostly dark in Alaska. See, that would be hard for me. The mostly dark times would be a killer. Yeah. I forgot. There is the payoff that you got to go through that too. You've lived there 20 years. Wow. Oh, you lived there 20 years and your hubby still flies there for work. Gotcha. Wow. That's a lot of dark hours. Yeah, I wouldn't do all that. I don't drive well in the dark. I don't see well in the dark. So, but your wildlife, holy smokes, like it's a kind of beautiful that no other state really can say they have. Such unique wildlife and environment. I really do want to do an Alaskan cruise. It's on my bucket list if I can get myself to do a cruise. I have a friend trying to get me to go on a cruise next year. And I've got a definite maybe in there. A definite maybe. Thank you, Rochelle. I thrifted it. You guys want to see some of this jewelry? Like, let me show you some of the stuff that it's pretty much listed. I just have to do a couple of like gold and silver. Some of it is actually listed, but I got all of these cameos, like some of the most unique, beautiful cameos I've ever come across in my life. Look at her. Oh, I mean, and they're old. These are all old. This one, wait, is this the one? I think this is the one. Uh-oh. Get off there. Okay. Who has ever seen a cameo locket? So this is the cameo side. There's the cameo side. And then the clasp, you undo, and it's a very unique clasp. It's just like a little lever here, and the pin comes out. The pin comes out, and then you flip it around, and then it's a locket. And then you put the pin back where it goes, and voila. Is that crazy? So it's like a convertible, and I'm told a lot of these were they were like for mourning, mourning. So you put your deceased loved one's picture on the back and hold them close to your heart. But isn't that fascinating? What? Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. Anybody seen a cameo with cows? Again, one of the most unique cameos I think I've ever come across. Look at that one. It's gorgeous, beautiful. It's got that same really interesting clasp. Melissa, who's in the chat, has been helping me with the identification of a lot of these. I've got these all came from the same collector. This is a cameo necklace. I'm pretty sure that's going to end up being 800 silver, because that is what they used for these little filigree silver pieces. This one, I've got to get some semichrome and test if this is truly bakelite, like I think it is. Because if this is bakelite, this is $1,000 of bakelite beads in an amber cherry is what they call it. And everything is telling me that is the case. And I did the rub, you know, you kind of heat it up with your finger and you smell, it's got the smell. So I'm like, oh my goodness. Yes, indeed. And it's on an old string, like old. See if you can see that where my thumb is there. And it came from that estate. So I'm leaning towards that being it. Lever safety clasp. Ooh, I almost got that ring on my finger and couldn't get it off. Look at that. Brutalist. There it is. Look at that Brutalist ring. Is that crazy? It's like all these little people all. Isn't that cool? Just such unique stuff. Such unique stuff. I already sold a piece out of here, but look, this is a coral cameo. I know. Okay, it's trying. Oh, there we go. It's trying to read my sign. Look at that piece. Again, it's a locket. It's a young gentleman on the back. So, I mean, that's just a taste of what I've already like gotten processed in. And then I've got these pieces where, look at this, there's a bag of earrings. And I think there's some Haskell in here. And then I think these ones are Haskell. They're not marked, but look at them. Everything I find says this is a Haskell design. So yeah, fun stuff. And then these are Irwin Pearl. Does that ring a bell for anybody? Irwin Pearl earrings. So I've kind of been absorbed in jewelry lately. And then this cool piece. Oh my goodness. I got to block my signage back there because it keeps wanting to read the sign instead of focusing on the piece. There we go. Look at that. Those are all little bands individually put together. That one I still don't know anything about. These ones I'm showing you now, like, no, I don't have these listed yet because I still have to figure out what they are. And I have to take pictures. So all the things, I will tell you, not all the pictures are the greatest in my shop right now, the jewelry, because I took the auction house's pictures and I just copied them so that I could get the things listed. And then I'll be taking better pictures in little segments as we go. But oh my gosh, look, this is all the stuff I still haven't even sorted through. I've still got to sort through all of this that I bought in lots. Like, okay, look, this is how it was sold. All of this came in one lot together. And I think what I saw here, I love these. These are paper beads. Nothing really mind-blowing in this lot, but it's all really fun. Oh, like this could possibly be sterling. I've got to test that. It's on a velvet collar. There's a torque. Oh, I think I got it for the torque because everybody wants a torque. For those that don't know, because I had to learn this, these types of necklaces right here are called torques, and they're so highly useful. Let me see if I can get this off of here and show you why they're so useful. Everybody wants to be a torque. Oh, here, because they've already got, so you put any kind of a pendant or what Dawn of Hudson Vintage taught me. Let's say, where'd one of those cameos go that I just had? Where'd you go? Let's say I want to put a cameo on a torque, boom, you can use the torque to hold. Oh, I can't do it with this piece because it's a C clasp and that doesn't work so good. But you can take one that's got a little bit, maybe not. Never see, what was I talking about? Anytime you go to like do a live demo or do something, you got to have a plan B. But you can just put whatever you want on the end of a torque. Just slide it on. Take any pin that you love. So we love our torques. They're a useful thing. Yes, on eBay, I am utterly good stuff. I do not go by the niche lady on eBay. So those sales that I got on eBay are not because of my YouTube. As I know, I hear a lot of times, oh yeah, you only get the sales there because you have a YouTube channel. But no, I don't drive any traffic to eBay from YouTube. The sales that I get on eBay are because of the eBay traffic and being found on eBay. Yep. And it's really raised my optimism about, being able to do a really healthy business on eBay for people who don't have YouTube channels. Because I do always worry about that. It's like and you know what? I'm like a huge advocate of whatever kind of marketing you do for your business, whatever social media you choose, do that social media. Do it. Get yourself, your brand, because every business does it. They have a presence out there. Video selling, and I've been saying this for many years, even before I was the niche lady. Video selling is one of the best ways to connect with your customers because you're eyeball to eyeball with them and you're a real person and they can see you're a real person. And, and it's just better to buy from somebody that and and I know that we don't know each other, but you kind of know me, you kind of know me because I put everything out on video. So I'm a real big advocate of if you can get yourself on video, do it. And, YouTube can become its own revenue stream. You can monetize on YouTube if you, make content and, we do the thrifting videos and all of that. That makes money through advertisers on YouTube. It's Google, basically. And, but then there's also even if that's not your goal, even if your goal is not to make a bunch of money with YouTube itself, it is still marketing. It's still people finding your things. It is still people connecting with you and you being able to lead people to where your listings live. Contemplating big life decisions. Yes, always. Aren't we always doing that? I feel like that's getting up every day, right? Crystal! Yay! Rosie Crystal, you changed your YouTube name. You weren't Rosie Crystal before. Were you? Or have I just not seen your name go by in the chat that much? I feel like you changed it. Okay, help my brain here. Anyway, Crystal was a host on NSN and will be coming back to us. That's right, you were Rosie's Closet. Okay, I'm not dreaming it. That's what I thought. Her specialty is vintage clothing, and we look forward to having her back after she gets through school. Sometimes we know there's only so many hours in the day and you have to do what you have to do, right? Yep. Okay. Throw me some more questions. I love answering questions. I love helping people who want to make this a business. For those who may not know my story and how did I become a full-time reseller, I have a whole video about it, but in a nutshell, 20 years in a really awful marriage. And that's when eBay came about. And so I got to resell to make a little money on the side, but it was never good enough. It was always my hobby. And so when I got divorced during that period of time, between like he leaves, I'm now a single mom, evicted out of our home because I can't pay that rent. And the only thing I had was reselling. It was the only thing I knew. I hadn't been in the workforce for decades. And I decided to just dive deep into becoming a full-time reseller, and realized that I knew what I was doing and I could teach other people to do it. And I have taught other people to do it, and who could leave their jobs. And that's kind of how it all, I think it's fantastic, whether you want to do it for part-time income or full-time income. I love helping people achieve what they want to achieve in reselling. And sometimes life gets in the way. Yes, it does. Are the thrift stores and or estate sales near to you? How far do you travel for them? So Vegas is not a huge, it's laid out pretty good. So you have the strip, kind of runs down the middle of Las Vegas. And then you have a freeway system that is a big circle around the whole outside of it, with a couple of ways, to get across as well. So from me to the farthest I go for thrifting, which is Henderson, is about 35, maybe 40 minutes of driving at the most. That's my very farthest point that I go to thrift. We are blessed to have 16 Goodwills. I don't know how many Salvation Armies. I think there's about half a dozen. There are, I believe, 4 Savers. There's a bunch of independent. There is so much thrifting here. It's mind-boggling. We are a very transient town, meaning a lot of people come here short term and leave and don't want to take all their stuff. So there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff. We also have a really big senior community. Therefore, you have a lot of estate sales, and then the estate sale stuff ends up, being donated, what doesn't sell, and that sort of thing too. So there's a lot of stuff in this town. And so I don't have to generally travel very far. I don't go the farthest places away very often, just because I hate driving. I really do. It's true confessions. I'm getting more and more intolerant of people who are so aggressive and so entitled in this driving world that it's downright dangerous. It scares me. I'm a very defensive driver, but even being a defensive driver, it almost feels like it's not if, it's when they get in an accident, because people just drive like idiots around here. I mean, it's so bad, so aggressive, just no awareness of how their moves affect the rest of traffic. People stopping, literally stopping flat out in the middle of a 3-lane highway because they're thinking about making a left turn, but they haven't pulled into the left, turn area yet. And then you look up and you got cars coming. It's crazy. And we have had so many red light runners here. So yeah. Okay. You guys want to talk about boss? You want to talk about boss? Yes, there is one of the last of the reseller live events you can go to is the Boss Reseller Remix. It does take place here in Las Vegas, and it is March 10th through the 13th. It's coming up. And NSN is a sponsor this year. So We're going to be there full time. I also thought like that'll make it really easy for the people that want to seek me out. I will be at the table a lot. And you can use the code niche for $25 off your ticket if you're thinking about it. I will get a list of people who have used my code and come to the event through me. And I'm going to do some sort of a special off the books get together type thing. So make sure you use the code niche when you buy your ticket. And then we will do something during that time. Indeed. Yeah. And I get so many questions like, does Noah have his license yet? Does Noah have his license yet? Noah doesn't want his license yet. And I'm not pushing it because I'm perfectly fine with him not being out on those roads. He's a really good race car driver. He's a really good go-kart driver. And I'm sure he is going to be an excellent driver. But, you know, it's still, if he doesn't want to, I'm not going to make him. I don't mind taking him where he needs to go. He will get his license when he's ready. He will be fine. Thank you, Kim. I did sell Avon successfully. I did do that. That was pre-marriage. That's interesting. You just made me really think about that. I did sell Avon, and I saw a lot of ways to improve the system of selling Avon because I'm always about how do you scale business without working harder? Because as a human being, you don't have more than 24 hours in a day. And some of that you have to eat, sleep, and spend time with loved ones. So with Avon, back then, it was a system of going door to door. You could knock on the door and talk to people, which a lot of Avon ladies did that. Or you could just leave the books. So I got to where I was just leaving the books. Like that was faster than, talking to each person. And they generally didn't, place an order right then. And that's a lot of time spent on, say, them buying a $5 lipstick, right? So leave it. It's got your number on the back, all of that. Then I looked into how can I get more books out? Because there's a ratio of orders to books. How do you get more books out? Oh, there's this thing called bulk mail. With bulk mail, you can literally ship to groupings, like a whole neighborhood. You can get every address in that neighborhood and ship. And it was like 3 cents a booklet to do that mailing. So I'm like, okay, let's do that. And I would literally get, because Avon supplied the catalogs for free, I would get hundreds of catalogs and I would mail them out. I had one lady who would help me because you had to stamp them, all the things with it was a thing. And we got them out, and then people started placing the orders. Well, then the time consuming part was delivering all those orders. I'm like, okay, how do I solve this problem? Now, you were not allowed to have like a retail space. You couldn't have an Avon store. So I'm like, how do we get around that? Oh, can we have a showroom? My district manager looked into it and she's like, I don't see why not. And so I opened the very first Avon showroom. And what I did was I'd order all the samples. I'd order some of the latest products because as a rep, you got a bigger discount if you got them like right at the beginning when they were like on sale. So I would order all the products. I'd have this whole little showroom. I was right on Whittier Boulevard in La Habra. Or anybody who knows, Whittier Boulevard is the main thoroughfare with thousands of cars, traffic. And I was like right there on the boulevard. My mom painted the window. So we had a mural with makeup, lipstick. Somewhere I have those pictures. And out of curiosity, people started stopping in. And they could pick up the catalog. They could test the samples. They could place their orders. They could do all the things. And then also, I was still mailing out the books. And then people could come pick up their orders. And again, test and sample. And I gave a little discount for picking their order up. Like I kind of like use that leverage to, the time factor of having to deliver, which I would still do if I needed to. And it just like, it became this really big booming business to the point where Avon was not happy with it, which still boggles my brain a little bit, but nope. So what they didn't stop me because legally they couldn't. There was nothing in the contract that said I couldn't do what I was doing. But what they did was, and if anybody sold Avon, you had like a 2-week window to collect for all your orders and pay your invoice. They cut me down to a 5-day pay. So at the volume I was doing, that became nearly impossible to keep up with. And I was paying a lot of stuff out of my own pocket, and then people ended up not paying. And so they basically squeezed me out. And then guess what they did? They opened their very own Avon showroom in LA. So I'm okay with that. I will take that as a feather in my cap, that I did something that then a Fortune 500 company took to a bigger level and did themselves. But it was a cool learning experience. And it was really awesome because it was right across the street from my grandmother's house. So I had Jordan Jordan was 3. I want to say she was 3. And Jennifer was 10. They're 7 years apart. Jennifer's my oldest. I don't talk about her very much. She's not really in my life right now. But my grandmother got to help me with the kids because it was right across the street. So it was just a really good situation. And it was fun. And then I got married. And then I was told I didn't need to work anymore because he was going to take care of everything. And yeah, women don't let that happen to you. Teach all the young women, make sure you can support yourself. Oh, that's awesome, Susan. Yeah, so that's why when I talk about in my videos, I have a little soft spot for Avon. It is because of that time. This was in the late 80s, early 90s time period. Kind of an Avon heyday. It's when they had the Elizabeth Taylor jewelry, the Joan Rivers jewelry. It's when they had the very Yadro looking nativity that nobody can ever tell me that they weren't working with Yadro on that. And such. All right. Questions. Throw them at me. Let's see. I'm going to go back up here. Thank you, Pamela. I really do go back and read all these comments. And I appreciate you guys. I do. I have my insecurities. I have a lot of times of self-doubt and second guessing myself and wondering if I'm doing the right things. And I really love the comments that ground me back to like, it's okay to know that I'm smart and I'm a hard worker and all of those, the nice things you say. I even have trouble repeating it. But I'm learning to like start really accepting that more. And you have to, anybody who's going to do YouTube, you really need to focus on the good people because you will get the nasties. Every single channel that I have talked to that you would say, how does that person possibly have haters? They have haters. Like, it's unreal. And so you have to be able to give the power to the positive, and tune out the negativity. I mean, it's in all things like that. I'm still really working hard on that. I was actually talking to Julie the other day and we were, we were talking about prayer. And I don't make any qualms. Like, I am a Christian, and Jesus is the reason I am sitting here today before you. And I don't like sit down and say, okay, now I'm going to pray. My prayer life is a constant through the day. Something good will happen. I get a parking spot close up. Thank you, Jesus. Like, I know that came from you. And just really focusing on every good little thing, and being thankful for it. It really changes how you go through life. Because I know people that focus on everything that goes wrong, and they miss the good things. They miss all those wonderful things that are happening all around them, because the brain is channeled to only see like what didn't happen, what went wrong, all those. So it is so important that however you do it, if I don't push my faith on anybody, I share it because it has made my life so much better. And I'm willing to talk to anybody who wants to talk about it. But whatever you call it, however you find that place where you can really focus on what is good in the little things. I'm not just talking about the big things that happen, the things that everybody knows you celebrate. I am talking about the fact I found a pen that has ink. Whatever it is, open the refrigerator. I'm like, oh yeah, I've got something to eat today. The littlest things, and you slowly will train your brain to really start seeing the things. And then when you walk outside, you're going to see things you didn't see before, and you're going to go, wow, I never noticed how beautiful that is. And it will change your whole perspective on life. It truly will. And this, like, anybody can do this. Like, whether you believe in God or not, it's finding that place of just truly being able to focus on all that is good. That is what has gotten me through life. That is how I keep going when things are really hard. That is why I wake up in the morning and open my eyes and breathe in a new day. Yep. I know I'm not where I'm supposed to be, but thank God I'm not where I was. Ooh, I like that, Stephanie. Yep. Yeah. And I truly believe everything we go through is to help us in the future. And we may not know why until we get to that point in our future where it makes sense. I've had a heck of a couple of years. But I truly believe I needed to go through it then to keep me on track in the future of what's coming. And I know great things are still coming. Like, I know if I keep going and I keep doing what I'm doing, I will continue on a path of success. So, yes. Doesn't mean bad things aren't going to happen. Bad things are going to happen, because that is life. Bad things are going to happen. Things are going to happen that we don't agree with around us. We're going to deal with crappy people, but just stay true. Just stay true to you. Oh, I love that. Your heater broke, and then all of a sudden you're getting 70s and 80s. See how that works? And here's what I tell people too. The people that would poo-poo that, oh yeah, just a coincidence. So what? If your brain says that is a blessing, what harm is there in that? What could possibly be bad about that? Right? Yes. you left me with a cliffhanger. Your pickup broke down this week, but you know what? I'm waiting. You're just going to leave me with that cliffhanger, aren't you? Oh my goodness. Oh, something I know. I'm sitting here like talking about reselling and resellers. So I do have a place to dig deeper. If anybody really, really wants to build a reselling business, and whatever that means, whether you want to make an extra $500 a month, or if you want to make an extra $5,000 a month, or you want to make an extra $500,000 a year, I now have a place where we do deeper discussions. It's reselling based. It's, where it's like the YouTube isn't like all like, and it's really hard to manage, in like community posts and that kind of thing. It's not really interactive. So I made this really interactive, very, what's the word for it? A few of you are members over there. It's called the Reseller Revolution Network. There is a reason I named it that, which it's my accountability name. And I'll tell you that in a minute. It's called the Reseller Revolution Network. Okay, why is that link so long? Is that really the link? That shouldn't be the link. The link is supposed to be much shorter than that. Where'd you get that link, Melissa? It's okay. Yeah, there's the link. There's the link. Maybe you had an old one saved. So it is a paid membership group, but it's very reasonable. And if you can spend $15 a month to make an extra $150, would you do that? Like that's what I'm there for. I'm there to help you achieve whatever success that you want to achieve. If you want to do more than that, do more than that. The price doesn't change because of how big you want to grow your business, how deep you want to make it. The price is going to go up once we reach 100 members. So if you are thinking about it, there is a 7-day free trial. You can come over, check it out. I am making, there's a classroom. I'm looking at it on the screen as if you could see it. So there's a classroom section where I'm putting really specialty courses in. I'm going to be like listening to the questions come in and then doing like, you need a video answer. I'm going to make those video answers. We do a weekly, what is it session, things that you like, maybe you've listed it, you don't think you have it listed correctly, or something you don't even know how to get it listed. We have that video session. I'm going to be we're having our first one on Saturday is just a Q&A session with me and other sellers. It isn't all about me. There's a lot of experience there. And it is open to newbies through experience because we all learn from one another. We all learn from one another. And so I truly want to help others grow this great business because I know so many people need extra money too. Like and it's really hard to just like, okay, I need extra money. Like, where do I start? And I had a mentor who once said, a lot of you know what you need to do. You just don't know what to do first. And that like really resonated with me. It's like, and so her helping me break it down, like, what do I do first? So that's the kind of stuff we do over there and so much more. The mirror? No, it's, I don't know what it is. Tell you the truth. It's heavy. Maybe it is stone. Maybe it is stones. I don't know. It's super heavy. I've had that mirror for years. This is the first time I ever had a house I hung it up in. I just kind of carried it around from house to house because I never knew where I wanted to put it. My problem is my own motivation. So then you have to figure out like what's keeping you unmotivated. Usually we can figure it out. We know what motivates us and what doesn't motivate us. trying to think, how would I answer that? Like, what motivates me? I will be very transparent here. I feel like I'm running out of time. I feel like there was so much I wanted to do in my life. And I'm almost 60 years old. I'm like, holy smokes, where did all the years go? Where did all the years go? Where did I fizzle away the years and didn't do the things I truly wanted to do? So now I am motivated to work really, really hard for, like, I don't know, the next 5 years so that I can enjoy the last 25 years of my life. That's my motivation right now. That is my motivation. And my kids. I want my kids to never have to worry. I want my kids to just be able to live off mom's years of work too. Not like they're going to be working. They're going to be supporting themselves. Don't get me wrong. But I don't want them to have to struggle. You know, I want them to just have the life that I piddled away too many years and didn't have at their age. That motivates me. It does go quicker. It does go quicker. It is true. You keep putting off starting your resale business. Why do you think you keep putting it off? There's a reason there. Like, really think about, like, what is it like if you say, I'm going to start reselling today, what is it that stops you? Is it a fear of not knowing how to do something in it? Is it like you just don't really need the money, so that's not a factor? You know, what is that thing? What is that thing? We all have a thing. Yeah, and there's a grandbaby coming, and I keep thinking, like, oh my gosh, I want time to go see my grandbaby as often as possible. You know, and she's, 5 hours away from me. I'm really hoping for the high-speed train, and I'm hoping that the high-speed train is like a faster process than taking a plane. Because even though the flight is only an hour, you have to be at the airport an hour and a half before, and it's an airplane, and it's an airport, and it's all of that. So if the train thing is a much faster process of zippity doo dah over there, I'm all about it. Afraid I'll fall on my face with it. Oh, thank you for typing that. Thank you for typing that. So you are then choosing just to fall on your face ahead of time. What do you have to lose? And what does falling on your face look like? What does that look like? What specifically is it? Listing something wrong and losing money? Is it having something break in shipping? Is it having a customer mad at you? What is that? What does falling on your face represent? Dig deep into that. Like, what is it that is truly stopping you? As I get older, I tend to say more and more, I just let it out. Forgive me if I'm a little blunt with things. Spending money and not making it back. Okay, here's my advice to you. Start without spending money. Learn the process of reselling by looking around your home and finding things that you can sell. Even if they're not like very expensive, you're not going to make a ton of money, but get it, like, the experience of just getting going, learning the process of listing and researching and all of that. Find something that you just can't lose money on because you've already had it, you've enjoyed it. It doesn't matter what you paid for it because you didn't buy it to resell. You enjoyed it. Now it's time to move it on. And then get comfortable with the process. Because I guarantee you, when that item sells, or when your first item that you've listed sells, it lights something up in you. It gives you a new motivation. It's like oh, that little cha-ching goes off and it's like, oh, this is cool. And then you can take, it's baby steps. You don't have to go all in. You don't have to go out and buy, $5,000 worth of inventory that you've got a risk in. You can start slow. You can start very slow. You can spend $10 on inventory to start and start. So don't think that starting reselling means you have to go spend a bunch of money. That's one of the beauties of this is a business that you can literally start on a shoestring. You can start without spending a dime. That is a beautiful thing. Yep. Yes, Susan, don't say you're lazy. If you're lazy, you would know it. It's not a question mark. Anybody who is lazy knows they're lazy. That lazy is often used for other things. If you're avoiding things, okay, and I'll tell you what happens to me. I will have so many things that I need to get done that I sit down and I don't start anything sometimes. Like if I don't have myself planned out, if I haven't made a list of things that I need to check off, I will sit and look at the enormity of it and just go, I'm going to scroll on Facebook because that feels like I'm doing something, but I'm really not. So I get overwhelmed. Overwhelm is not laziness. It's not laziness. So yes, whoever else told you that. Excellent. Why are we all so quick to apologize or blame ourselves? It's a good question. It's a good question. I have watched you for a while and scared to list on eBay because I have heard horrible things. And thank you for the words about Peanut. Yes. Do you know why you hear horrible things? Because when bad things happen, people are more apt to talk about it. The scams, I have been doing this for 25 years, and I will honestly tell you, I think I have had one instance of somebody who tried to return something that wasn't what I sold them, in all of those years and thousands of transactions. Are there scammers out there? Yes. Yes, there are. We know there are. But it is the exception, not the rule. Your sales, your good sales will far outweigh any of the bad things that happen. My suggestion is stop reading those. Unless you get into a situation where you have an issue, and again, the Reseller Revolution Network, that's what we're all there for. Work through problems in a positive fashion. This is a problem. How do we solve it? Not, oh my gosh, customers are such jerks. And I had this happen and this happened and this happened. That's not what we're there for. Because again, as I was talking about earlier, that affects your brain. You start reading and buying into the negative stuff. And then you think that's all that there is. So I will tell you, the horrible things, I'm not going to say they don't happen, but they're the rarities. They're the exception, not the rule when you're reselling. It's great when you sell your first piece. I agree. Also remember, if you have to have inventory, you also have to have a place to store it. My house looks like a hoarder's dream come true. So, I understand that. I shared the video with my inventory space, but I blame myself for not clearancing things sooner. So when you get to that point where you have too much inventory, do what any retail space does. They don't have unlimited space. What does a retail store do when they haven't sold out the stock that they expected to sell in a certain amount of time? Give you guys a second to answer that in the chat. What does every retail establishment do? I'm behind in the chat again, I can tell. Let's see. I know there's this lag. There's like a 30-second lag before you even hear me ask the question. That's what I'm kind of waiting on here. They have a sale, they liquidate, they clearance, they mark it down, boom, 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 boom. They get it off the floor. They get it out of there. And that is what we have to do too. We have to look at our oldest things that didn't sell. If we are out of room, you can designate a certain amount of space for your inventory and say, just like a budget, say, this is as much space as I am budgeting to my inventory. When this fills up, I need to look at the oldest things and get them moved. And you get them moved, you may drop the price, you might run a sale, you might auction them. Some things you might even have to take a little bit of a loss on. I mean, the goal is always to get your money back out of the item. So hopefully you bought correctly so that even though you didn't make the margin that you wanted to, you still make something. And then you keep that stuff flowing, because now you've liquidated, and not only have you cleared the space for more to come in, you have cleared some money for more inventory to come in. So take that money now and invest it in something that has a better likelihood of making you a better profit. A lot of times the stuff we bought, back when we were first learning to sell, is not the stuff that we should be selling now. And sometimes you just have to let it go. And yes, sometimes you just redonate it back too. I have a huge donation box that's going soon. And there was a piece of me that was like, oh, but I could whatnot it and I could just do dollar starts. And then I started thinking about the time element. I'm like, I can't afford the time to do that. And so donate is how it's going to go. And that is a part of this business that once you figure out that cycle, you have a really good flow. I know it feels really awful sometimes to have to liquidate something you were so sure was going to sell at a certain price point, and then it doesn't. And you're like, but other people are selling it. They didn't find it with you. And so let it go. Let it free up the space. Thank you for saying that, Aloha. I've been selling on eBay since 1999. Never had any issue. I had a terrible customer on Etsy once 10 years ago. Yes. That's what I'm saying. It's the exception, not the rule. You do a good business. Here's the thing. There are ways to avoid the problems. Take really good detailed pictures. Give a really good description of the item. That way, if they say something was a certain way and try to say item not as described, your listing says otherwise. Those people who do things like that go after vulnerabilities. So they go after sellers who aren't doing good descriptions, aren't doing good pictures, that kind of thing. I'm not saying like 100% of the time, but generally they go for the easy target. Don't be an easy target, and you can avoid having those issues. Yard sales are great for clearing your clearance stock too. Yeah. And other resellers love it. Here's the crazy thing about doing a yard sale. Like, you as a reseller bought the item once, it was attractive. It's going to be attractive to another reseller. And guess what? They might actually have good luck with it. So don't go into a yard sale though, pricing it at like half of the eBay price. Like, truly go into it with like, this stuff needs to go. I need to get back something out of it. Boom, let it go. Let it go. Let it go. I cannot do yard sales because I can't have my address out there. And anybody who there are too many resellers, that live here in Vegas, that if they came to my yard sale, then they'd know where my house was. And that would not be good. eBay doesn't care. If people want their money back, eBay will make you give it back. It's not always the case. It's not always the case. I know many, 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 many circumstances where sometimes eBay will give them the money back and not take it from you and not hold it against you. That's their way of like trying to keep everybody happy. But I also know lots of sellers who have won their cases because eBay is very aware of the issues out there. I think they're still trying to figure out how to deal with them. That's one of the good things about coming to like an event like Boss. eBay is going to be there. The representatives are going to be there. You will have their ear. Like you can talk to them about any issues. Yep. All right, guys. I need to spend some time with my kids. We've been doing a lot of family time this week. That's been our way of kind of dealing with things. And I promised them tomorrow morning we are going to birdwatch. Yes, we are. Rachel got a new camera for Christmas. And so I told her we'll take her out and we'll go find some stuff to take pictures of. And we're just going to spend some time together and have some breakfast. And then the day will start. There will be a new video out tomorrow. Okay. So if you're watching this, there's like 300 of you here. The people who are watching this will know that I was doing a little bit of grief buying, let's just say, and I was buying things that I really should not have bought and probably wouldn't have bought on any other day. But I was just kind of doing a little retail therapy. We'll put it that way. Yes, there is a reseller event coming up in Las Vegas. It's the Boss Reseller Remix, and it is March 10th through the 13th. And if you use the code niche, you will get $25 off your ticket. It's a really fun event. There's a lot of information type stuff for sure, but then there's also a lot of just awesome networking opportunities. We go to Fremont Street together. We do the touristy thing together. And anybody who uses my code, I'm putting together another little separate get together type thing as well. And this might be the last one, guys. If we don't get some good ticket sales going, we got to make sure that they're not losing money putting on the event, because it wouldn't be a good business practice to put on an event and lose money, now would it? Indeed. And it's a very expensive event to put on. They rent the Blind Center of Nevada to hold the event. And so there's a lot that goes into it. So I'm excited to be a sponsor this year. I'm excited to be there, meet everybody, and sit myself in a spot where people can come find me. It's hard for me to sit still for long times, though, so I'll have to figure out some windows of time for sure. Anyway, March 10th through the 13th. Yes, I will be there. All right, everybody. I hope this was helpful for some of you. Reselling isn't for everybody, so don't feel guilty if you don't want to do it, or you tried it and you hate it, or whatever reason. Not everything is for everybody. There could be something else for you. I say, could be, instead of reselling, maybe you do crafting if you love crafting, and get comfortable putting a camera on it. Do you know how many people love watching crafting on YouTube? And then YouTube just pays you. I mean, there's so many ways. There's so many ways and opportunities to make money nowadays. It is like the golden age of entrepreneurship, to do something that makes money. And I am here to support and encourage and answer any questions I can on whatever you want to do. It's about 300 people, Amanda. It's about 300 people. It's not a huge event. So it's not like there's too many people here kind of thing. It's a really nice sized event. Yes. All right, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow in the video. I'll probably put it out a little bit early tomorrow since, yeah, why not? Why not? Look for that. I gotta finish editing it. But until then, everyone, go be profitable and make it fun. We'll see you on the next one.